Imagine a time when nearly every country on Earth was at war, when the world map looked very different from today, and uncertainty was everywhere. That was World War II, a conflict so vast and powerful it touched almost every corner of the globe. It was a struggle that spanned continents, from Europe's snowy fields to Asia's dense jungles, and even to the deserts of Africa and the islands of the Pacific. The war brought danger, bravery, and deep sadness, leaving cities in ruins and families forever changed. It was a time of both great loss and incredible acts of courage. It wasn't just soldiers who fought. Everyone, even children, felt its impact. People of all ages joined the war effort, whether on the front lines or at home. Cities were bombed, families separated, and food was scarce. Everyday life was filled with uncertainty, and survival often meant making difficult choices. Yet in the darkness, stories of courage and hope shone through. Neighbors helped each other, and communities found ways to support those in need. Ordinary people became heroes, protecting loved ones and their countries, standing up for what they believed was right, even when it was dangerous. Learning about World War II helps us understand how our world was shaped, and why peace and freedom are so important today. We'll explore why the war started, who fought, and what life was like for people everywhere, from leaders making big decisions to families just trying to get by. From the skies over Britain to the beaches of Normandy, it's a story of big moments and personal tales, of battles, bravery, and the will to survive. By the end, you'll see how this event changed history, and the people who lived through it, shaping the world we know today. Let's begin our journey into the story of World War II and discover the lessons it still teaches us. World War II lasted from 1939 to 1945, 6 years that changed everything about the world as people knew it. It was a time of uncertainty, fear, and dramatic transformation, with every year bringing new challenges and events that shaped the course of history. These 6 years saw cities destroyed, families separated, and entire nations forced to adapt to a world at war. Back then, there were no smartphones or internet, and people couldn't just check the news with a tap or a swipe. News came by radio or newspaper, and families would gather around to listen for updates, sometimes waiting days to learn what was happening far away. The world was split into two sides. On one side, the Axis powers, Germany, Italy, and Japan, who sought to expand their empires and gain more control. On the other, the Allies, including Britain, France, the Soviet Union, the USA, Australia, and many others, who joined forces to resist aggression and defend freedom. The Axis wanted to expand and control more land, launching invasions and battles across continents. The Allies fought to stop them and protect freedom. Battles raged across Europe, North Africa, and the Pacific. The war reached deserts, jungles, oceans, and even remote islands, making nowhere truly safe. Even the cold, stormy Atlantic Ocean became a battleground, with ships and submarines locked in deadly conflict. Every continent felt its impact, from the largest cities to the smallest villages, making it the most widespread conflict in history. People everywhere listened anxiously for news, hoping for their loved ones' safety, and wondering what tomorrow would bring. The world was united by fear, hope, and the longing for peace, as well as the struggle for survival. Ordinary people endured rationing, air raids, and evacuation, doing whatever they could to keep going. The alliances and battles of World War II shaped the world we know today, leaving behind lessons and memories that still affect us. Understanding where and when it happened helps us see why it mattered so much and why its legacy endures. This was truly a world war, touching every corner of the globe and changing the course of history for generations to come. How did World War II begin? What were the events and emotions that set the world on a path to such a devastating conflict? It started with anger, frustration, and unchecked ambition. Across Germany, people felt betrayed and humiliated. After World War I, Germany was punished harshly by the Treaty of Versailles, leaving many Germans angry, poor, and desperate for change. The economy collapsed, and hope faded. Adolf Hitler, leader of the Nazi Party, promised to restore Germany's pride and power. He offered simple answers to complex problems, and many people listened. Hitler rebuilt the military, ignored the treaty's restrictions, and took over nearby lands like Austria and parts of Czechoslovakia, expanding Germany's reach. Britain and France hoped that giving in to Hitler's demands would prevent another war. They believed appeasement would keep the peace, but Hitler wanted more. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland, launching a lightning-fast attack that shocked the world. Britain and France had promised to protect Poland, so they declared war on Germany just days later, realizing that appeasement had failed. This invasion was the final straw. The world was now at war, and fear spread across Europe and beyond. Hitler's ambition and the failure of appeasement set the stage for a global conflict that would engulf millions. The flames of war spread quickly, drawing in more countries as alliances were tested and broken. The world watched anxiously as alliances formed, leaders made fateful decisions, and battles began to rage. The spark in Poland ignited a fire that would burn for 6 long, brutal years, leaving destruction in its wake. World War II had begun, changing history forever and shaping the world we know today. The world would never be the same, as the consequences of this conflict echoed for generations. After conquering much of Europe, Germany set its sights on Britain. To invade, they needed to control the skies, leading to the Battle of Britain. The German Luftwaffe bombed airfields and cities, hoping to destroy the Royal Air Force, RAF. Outnumbered but determined, RAF pilots from Britain and other nations fought back with skill and courage. Prime Minister Winston Churchill inspired the nation, praising the few who defended so many. The Germans shifted to bombing cities in the Blitz, but British spirits only grew stronger. The RAF held firm, and Hitler was forced to abandon his invasion plans. The Battle of Britain became a turning point, showing that the Allies could resist. The bravery of the pilots inspired people everywhere. The skies over Britain became a symbol of hope and resilience. This victory kept Britain in the fight and changed the course of the war. The world saw that courage could stand against overwhelming odds. The United States tried to stay out of the war until December 7, 1941. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, sinking ships and killing thousands. Shocked and angered, America joined the Allies, tipping the balance of power. The Allies planned a massive invasion to free Europe, Operation Overlord, known as D-Day. On June 6, 1944, thousands of soldiers landed on Normandy's beaches under heavy fire. The fighting was fierce, especially at Omaha Beach, but the Allies pushed forward. By day's end, they had secured all 5 beaches. D-Day marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. With a foothold in France, the Allies could push the Germans back. The invasion was a huge victory and a turning point in the war. The courage shown on D-Day is remembered as one of history's greatest moments. The world watched as hope returned to Europe. The path to victory had begun. While Europe battled, Australia faced war close to home. After Pearl Harbor, Japan expanded across the Pacific, even bombing Darwin in 1942. With danger at their doorstep, Australian soldiers returned from overseas to defend their land. The Kokoda Track in Papua New Guinea became legendary. Australian troops fought through jungle, disease and exhaustion to stop Japan's advance. Young, inexperienced soldiers showed incredible grit, slowing and then pushing back the enemy. This victory protected Australia from invasion. Australians alongside Americans fought on in the Pacific, playing a vital role in battles across the region. The bravery on the Kokoda Track is a proud chapter in Australian history. Australians proved their strength and determination in the face of great danger. Their efforts helped turn the tide in the Pacific. War changed life for everyone, not just soldiers. Rationing meant families had to make do with less. Food, fuel, and clothes were all limited. Women filled jobs in factories and farms, building planes and ships, proving they could do anything. Children faced new challenges: evacuations, air raid drills, and blackouts. In Britain, many kids were sent to the countryside for safety, separated from their families. In Australia, cities went dark at night to avoid enemy attacks. Communities pulled together, growing food in victory gardens and knitting for soldiers. Everyone played a part. showing resilience and unity. The home front was a place of creativity, courage, and hope. Life was tough, but people found strength in each other. By 1945, the Allies were closing in on Germany from both east and west. The Soviet army pushed into Berlin, while Allied forces advanced from France. Hitler, realizing defeat was certain, took his own life. On May 7, 1945, Germany surrendered, celebrated as Victory in Europe Day or VE Day. Joy and relief swept through Allied countries, but the war wasn't over yet. In the Pacific, Japan refused to surrender, and fierce battles continued. The United States faced a tough choice and used a new weapon, the atomic bomb, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. The devastation was immense, and Japan surrendered soon after on August 15th, VJ Day. After 6 years, World War II was finally over. The world began to rebuild, mourning the losses and hoping for peace. The end of the war brought both celebration and sorrow. The lessons learned would shape the future. A new era was about to begin. World War II was the deadliest conflict in history, with millions lost and countries devastated. The world learned the terrible cost of hatred and war. Leaders formed the United Nations, hoping to prevent future global conflict. The war showed both the worst and best of humanity: bravery, resilience, and the fight for freedom. Ordinary people became heroes, and their stories inspire us today. Learning about World War II isn't just about battles. It's about understanding people and the importance of peace. We must remember the dangers of blaming others and the value of standing up for what's right. Peace is precious, and it's up to all of us to protect it. As we reflect, let's appreciate the sacrifices made for a better world. The story of World War II reminds us to choose understanding and friendship over conflict. If you liked this video, you should also check out World War I, also on the Mr. P Education Academy.